Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be going over question number 7 from the chapter 4 bingo problems. I'll start out by reading that question really fast. It says, a 68.5 kilogram skater moving initially at 2.4 meters per second on rough horizontal ice comes to rest uniformly in 3.52 seconds due to friction from the ice. What force does friction exert on the skater? So this question gives us a lot of information. First of all, it gives us the mass of that skater, which was 68.5 kilograms. It gives us the initial velocity, which is 2.4 meters per second. And then knowing that the skater is going to come to rest, we know that the final velocity is going to be 0. And then the time that it took from the initial point to the end is 3.52 seconds. And then we don't know the acceleration, and then ultimately what we're trying to find is that force of friction. So we'll start out, we'll need to use 2 equations to solve this problem. First is one of our kinematics, which really when it boils down just equals the change in velocity over time equals acceleration, right? That's the fundamental definition of acceleration, is the change in velocity over a period of time. And so since we know everything on the right side of the equation, let's just plug it in and find the acceleration. So final velocity is 0. The initial velocity was 2.4 meters per second. And then the time, I'll just write this already. So we had 0 minus 2.4 over 3.52. Keep our units in there. So when we punch this into the calculator, we end up with negative 0.68 meters per second squared. And that's good. We're expecting a negative acceleration since the person is slowing down. That acceleration is acting in the opposite direction of their movement, which is good. That's what we're expecting. So now that we know the acceleration, we can use our second equation, which is force equals mass times acceleration. Now that we know the mass and the acceleration, we just multiply those two together to find the force of that friction. And since it doesn't really give us any more information, there are some other forces I'm sure acting on this skater, such as, wind and all that stuff. But since it doesn't mention anything, we won't really deal with that. We'll just deal with what they've given us. So we'll count this force as the, all being the friction. When we do that, so F equals ma. So the force equals the mass, 68.5, times, and that's kilograms, times our acceleration, 0.68. That's meters per second squared. When we plug that into our calculator, and that's a negative, sorry. When we plug this in, we end up with negative 46.7 newtons. So that's the force that's acting, and so that negative just means that it's acting in the opposite direction. So if you wanted to just say the magnitude, you would say the magnitude of the friction is 46.7 newtons. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something. Thanks.